Excited to get back after it. And yeah, so here we are today. It's Freestyle Friday, and I'd like to just I know sometimes we're like, hey, what do you got going on? What questions do you have? But I'm going to pose a question to you, and I'd like that for us to have a freestyle level conversation around it, because it was a quick post that I saw a couple weeks ago, and I've been waiting to share it on like a Mindset Monday, and I keep for whatever reason not being here on Mondays, so I'm like, I better get it, I better get after it before I miss another Monday. Um, and the question was this: are you planning your day or are you preparing for your day? And what's the difference? Are you planning to win the day or are you preparing to win the day? And what's the difference between planning versus preparing?
I think preparing is actually taking action to make your day happen the way that you want it to. So if you think about a trip, you can plan a trip just by sitting there thinking about it, right? Oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this, but nothing actually happens until you get up and start preparing for it, packing the bags, doing all that. Are
Okay.
you putting things in place? Like, are you actually doing things to make these things happen for your day?
Okay. Like that. Anybody other thoughts? What's the difference between planning to win the day and preparing to win the day?
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, by the way, yesterday.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. I think those two kind of go hand in hand.
Tell me more.
Uh, you have to prepare to win.
Okay. So how's
Um,
that different than planning? Or how would you separate the two? So fair, they go hand in hand. What are the differences between them though?
right, right. Uh, so I feel, yeah, I definitely, that's why that was my take on the two. So
Okay.
I totally can't wait to hear what you have to say about it.
I appreciate you jumping in.
That's right.
Um,
Sorry I interrupted. I
no, no, no,
really
no,
meant
no,
to
no
say happy
sorries
birthday.
needed.
So
No sorries needed. There are no right and wrongs, guys. This is a freestyle open. Like this is here's so side note here, tangent sidebar, right? One of my coaches shared with me simply this. He says leadership is simply teaching people how to think so they can get what they want when they want it on their own terms and at their own time. This conversation is just another opportunity to teach you guys how to think critically around these things as well. There are no right or wrongs. And sometimes we just have to process either internally or so I'm a verbal processor. And I know some people are like internal processors and they have to go away and think about things before they feel comfortable speaking about it. But like sometimes hearing other thoughts in real time and getting some perspectives can be really helpful. So no right or wrong. This isn't a quiz. There's no test and there's no prize at the end. I promise.
I think, Matt, planning might be whether you put it on paper, put it in your calendar, um, and then the other is kind of, are you doing it? Are you not doing it, but are you, it's how do you do it? How do you get to getting it done? And how I put it? See, I'm kind of like Kevin. I can't put it into words. I just
Well,
kind of,
maybe I'll ask you this. Let me. When's the last time you had a well laid plan that didn't go the way you planned?
a
When's the
lot,
last
All the
time you had?
unfortunately.
When's the last time you had your day planned and the day had other plans?
All the time.
Okay, so there's a difference between planning to win the day and being prepared to win no matter what the day brings you. Being prepared
Mm.
to finish no matter what. What are your contingencies? What are the things that you have in place that allow you to win despite the external forces, the factors, the distractions, and the things that come at you at every different angle? And so, like in coaching, I get a lot of these same conversations. We set goals, and I also say, okay, are you like, what do you have? What are your contingencies if on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday you get a call and there's a showing and you've got a commitment for a certain amount of conversations or a certain amount of letters to go out? what is your game plan, and how are you preparing to make sure that you execute no matter what? As a bold coach, we didn't just plan to travel. We had to be there no matter what. Like weather or otherwise, even if you like, if I'm in Tennessee and I've got to be in St. Louis and the weather keeps canceling the flights, at some point I've got to just get to the rental car company and drive all night to get there at 8:30 because there's 100 people that paid $800 to be there. They don't care what the weather plans look like. It's a no-fail mission. And so all day long, I'm watching the weather. I'm looking at my contingencies. I'm looking at other flights. When the stakes are high and there are no other options, how do you operate differently as opposed to allowing the little distractions and the mosquitoes of the day to get you off course? And the challenge is this sometimes is I know how bad you want it by what you allow to stop you. And some of us allow anything to stop us and say, well, look, listen, Matt, I mean, this happened and then this happened and this happened. And I'm like, okay, cool. So this week, number one, how are we going to make it up? And number two, let's assume those things are going to happen again. How are you going to make sure that you execute? How are you going to make sure that you get it done?
I know I'm really good about not making that my golden time. Because if I have somebody call and they want to see a house, um, there's times when I say, okay, I can't do it during this time, but there's other times I'll say, okay, I can go ahead and show you that house. When I may have been able to, there may have been an opportunity where I said, I can't do it at that time, but I can do it an hour later. And that's what I should have done.
Yeah, there's something liberating actually that happens once you start protecting your time and telling people, whether it's your lead generation time, your family time, you put up boundaries and you say, you know what, I have another appointment during this time. Would this time work instead? Or, I mean, mom, you have the same out that we all have, right? Like, I have an appointment during this time. I can get someone else on my team to show it to you during that time, or I can show you it to you at this time. There's just, I don't know. There's something exciting about when you actually put up those boundaries. People respect you more, and you kind of respect yourself more. I don't know, that sounds weird, but you do. You kind of find that pride and happiness in what you're doing.
We teach people how to treat us. And people will only respect us to the level that we respect ourselves.
I think that's the big thing. We have to learn to respect ourselves, our time enough. And I've had a challenge with that, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. So looking back on like last week and the week before, taking a look at what you had planned versus the actuals that were able to be done, what's the difference between the two? What's the delta? What's the gap? And how do you ensure that you continue to shrink that delta? And how can you prepare against all of the unknowns that are actually, so there's known unknowns. You've got to plan for contingency. And are you crystal clear on what are the non-negotiables on your schedule? And are you willing to adjust in order to execute? Or are you just okay with missing a week and then another week? And then at the end of the year, you go, well, I mean, I did good. I feel like I did good, but you did like a 65%. What would life look like if you were operating at 90 plus?
I think this also can go back to, we've talked about it before. There's several different like development coaches that talk about taking accountability for everything that happens in your life.
Mhm.
So you're talking about, interruptions and things that sometimes we can't handle, but how do you take accountability for that in such a way that you still do the thing that you promised yourself you're going to do?
Yeah. How did you let yourself be interrupted? How did you, right? Like, can you just turn off your notifications during the time that you're super focused? Can you put yourself in a place where you're not findable for that hour, right? Can you elicit support and help? Like, what are the ways that you're allowing these things to happen, right? Michelle, that's a powerful question that we all take on. Like ultimate, like extreme accountability is, I think, one of the highest forms of EQ, right? Emotional intelligence is full ownership. It's one of the things we're really, really struggling with our kiddos. I don't know what it is, whether it's just behavioral, personality, or generational, or what. Like, man, nothing is their fault. It's just, I mean, like literally nothing. Even after they said it or did the thing, and I go, don't do that thing. And I didn't do anything. They made me. I didn't even say what you said I said. And I'm like, I recorded you. That's not my voice. You're twisting my words. I'm like, bro, it's you. You said it. Don't say it. Well, I didn't say it like that. Yeah, you did. Listen.
Being on the opposite, like the other side of the fence now of where you are getting over that hump of having teenagers, I will tell you, they will hear you. And someday when they're in their 20 somethings, they'll come back and you'll see them doing the things that you were telling them that they should be doing all along. So they're hearing you, even if they don't appear to be hearing you right now. Yeah, right.
I can only control the controllables, right? I can
Yep.
control the controllables. And then the other side is, I mean, there's power in that book that let them, right? And disengage and don't match their energy and let them deal with their emotions. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Getting back to, but the thing is also this is like, so my daughter has a challenge staying focused on task, and so we've got to help her not only plan but then prepare to just get out the door in the morning at the right time. So how do we do that? Well, don't just make a checklist of what to do. What can you pack now that you just grab your bag and go? Why do you have to wait till tomorrow to pack it? Well, I know you want to sit in bed and like kind of scroll for another minute until the very minute we told you that you got to go to bed, but like then tomorrow your day starts completely in chaos. So what can you do today to set you up for wins for tomorrow? Right? One of my coaching clients, we literally we planned a list of, okay, Monday from this time to this time and this time to this time, you're going to be calling these individuals and you're going to be using this script, and this is your reason for the call. The goal is how many dials, how many connects. Good. The next day, this is the source, this is the script, these are the expectations. Cool. Next day, this, and this. The next day, this, and this. So I leave and I said, do we have complete clarity? Do you feel ready? Do you have everything you need to win for this week? Yes. Okay. Is there anything that could happen that could derail you from doing the thing? No. Okay. Next week. So our goal was this, and this. How do we do? I didn't get any of it. What? Tell me more. Well, we had this happen. This kid was sick. This happened here. By the time I got to my thing, I realized I didn't have the numbers. So I had to look up the numbers. By the time I looked up the numbers, I was already through my time thing. Then I got overwhelmed. I got super distracted. Then I got this call off this one thing. And then the rest of the week just completely fell apart. Okay. How do you feel about it? I feel defeated. I feel chaos. I feel stressed out. I'm like, okay. What's one thing you could have done to ensure that you got at least your minimum allowable effort, your MAO? or your MAE? Well, I guess, I mean, if I had the list of numbers ahead of time, okay, how long do you think it would get you to get those numbers? 15 minutes. Cool. When do you plan on doing that? I guess I could do that today for tomorrow. Excellent. What about for the next day? When do you plan on doing the next one? I could do it at the end of my call time that I have and just kind of stack it onto that since I'm already in that mindset. Perfect. Is there anything else that might get in the way? No, I don't think so. I'm like, what if the same thing happened that Monday happens again? Sick kid, day off, you got to be mom. What are you going to do? Well, I guess I could call my in-laws, or I could do this, or I can get some help just for that 90 minutes, or I could bring a neighbor, or like, I'm like, okay, great. Now we're prepared. Now the plan is also about preparing for the unknowns that are definitely coming. One of the reasons why I bought a generator is to make sure that we never lose power again. Because once you buy a generator, then obviously you're never going to lose power again. And yet it happened, and it only happened for 15 or 20 minutes this last time. And yet this time, here's the difference about being prepared versus planning. Now that we were prepared for the power to go out, when the lights went out instantly, before, when the lights went out, I would go, oh shit, basement's going to flood if this goes out for long because it's been raining all day. Our sump pump's active. This time, power went out. I was like, let's go. Let's go. We get to hook up the generator, flip the switch. We're going to be the only house with lights on. Let's go. I was so pumped. Imagine what your week could look like or feel like if when chaos hits, you get to react with, I was ready for this shit. Let's go. Puke, don't matter. Sick kids, bring it. We're ready. Everyone else is dealing with the chaos, and I thrive in the chaos. I live in this. This is my jam. See, there's power in preparation. Planning is essential. It's key, right? Like Jim Rohn would say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. However, you also need to plan on being prepared. Plan on chaos. Plan on distraction. Plan on that. Create your contingencies. Find your non-negotiables. And just execute. Thoughts now around that? I don't know. Kevin, was that helpful? Is he still here? Oh, we lost Kevin. Hopefully he watches the recording.
We're all such in deep thoughts, figuring out now how we have to be planning and preparing all at once for our next week.
I just like the what you were saying earlier, Michelle, kind of like, if you erase, you got to replace. And how I've been doing this kind of sort of half-assed, but allowing my distractions. And then it's like, okay, 1 to 3 o'clock, you have to just turn your phone off, not turn your phone off, do not disturb, and then get it done, because I prefer to do it in the morning, 9 to 11, 9 to noon and stuff. So, yeah.
Because you know how to do this, right? There are other things in your life that are non-negotiables. Like groceries have to be bought, laundry has to get done, kids have to get out the door. Like we don't just scrap it just because something there's chaos in the world. Like we know how to do this. The challenge is, how do we make sure that we do this in our businesses as well? Right? How do we put the same amount of importance or non-negotiable in our businesses as we do sometimes the things in our daily life? Because the thing is like, as a parent, as a single parent, if someone's already at work and you're there, you got to get the kids out. Make sure they have lunch. Make sure they're dressed at least semi appropriately. And yeah, you're going to have the kid that will never wear the jacket. Let them be cold. I don't care. Right. But get out the door.
Well, it's no different than if you had a salaried job where you had to show up every day. You can't just make an excuse and not go. You can't just do the things that were on your list that were assigned to you and just be like, sorry, boss, didn't do it.
What do you think the biggest difference is with that versus what we do?
There's someone else holding us accountable and
The
someone else.
consequences are more immediate. The consequences are immediate and tangible. The thing is that in our world, there still are consequences, but they're delayed. And so there's a time horizon difference between the consequences. In corporate America, when someone's paying you, the consequences are rapid. For us, by not doing what you said you would do, the consequences are delayed and sometimes invisible. The thing is, you don't know what you missed. You don't know the income you're not making because of the lack of activity that you're doing. You don't know if that next appointment's going to be the biggest sale of your life that turns into the biggest referral partner ever, that turns into the biggest opportunity in your world. Right? Like there's a hidden opportunity cost in our lack of execution that makes it really easy to discredit doing the things that we're supposed to do. That's the challenge. Oftentimes we think by not doing it, it's okay. There's no consequences. Nobody else is being hurt by this. It's just me. And yet it's everyone that's counting on you that's being hurt by your lack of execution. So Freestyle Friday got a little bit of twist today. I missed you guys. Wanted to give you something really good for the weekend. And especially with the spring market coming in, the chaos is only going to increase. The question is, how willing are you to prepare to win versus just planning to win? What are your non-negotiables? How do you ensure that you execute the minimum allowable effort on your 20% activities? Just focus on that. Everything else will take care of itself. Everything else will take care of itself. Promise. I promise. And you're going to get a little surprise. You're going to be thrilled when the chaos comes and you say, I knew you were coming. I was ready for you. Welcome. Sit, have a seat. I already poured you a cup of coffee, chaos. Join me. We're still making calls. Come on, chaos. Welcome. Welcome to the party. All right, you savages. Go get some. Have a great day.
Bye.